Replay 10 air rifle. It's a pellet. This is a 177. I mean, no, it comes in 177 and 22. This is a 22 caliber pellet gun, and we're going to unbox it and take a look. Here we go. This is how it comes from the factory, packaged just like this, other than there is a plastic bag over this that I took off. But this is a 10-shot pellet. It's got magazines, comes with 2 of them, and they hold 10 pellets each, and then they clip into this device on the barrel right here. This is a pump rifle. That means that you don't fill it with compressed air or with CO2. This barrel right here actually pulls down and pumps air into a cylinder, which then is used to fire the pellet. Now, they've got other brands, other models of this that I've heard of. One is the Gamo Swarm. This is they got the Gamo Swarm, SWARM. They got the Gamo Swarm Maxim, which I've seen, and whether or not those are the exact same gun, I don't know. But they also have, this is the Replay 10. Now, I don't know if you can see this on the barrel. Yeah, right there, Replay 10 IGT. IGT is the type of gas system it has. The older guns had springs in them, and they were called springers, and there was somehow a spring assisted in the shooting or the propelling of the air. Well, this one doesn't have that, and it's a much better system. The springer you had to hold with what they call an artillery style hold, where you didn't grip the forearm, you just laid it on there, because the springer system needed the gun to move in order to shoot properly, and this one doesn't. So you can just grab hold of the stock, you can lock it down, you can do anything you want, but that's the IGT system. And IGT, we'll see what the IGT stands for in a minute here. I'm looking at the book here. But we're going to mount the scope on here, because the scope, by the way, it comes with a scope, 4 power by 32 Gamo scope. And everybody, when they get these things, they say they're not good scopes, and yeah, that's probably true. They're just, your basic, beginner type scope. It does not have the mil dots in it, in the crosshairs. So as you're shooting at increased distance or less distance, there's no real grid type of markings in your scope that tell you how to adjust your aim, either higher or lower, or if there's wind, left or right. These are your Allen wrenches that come with it. They're for mounting your scope, and I don't know what the smaller one's for. I'm assuming the larger one's for mounting the scope. On the other rifles, see this black rubber band? On the Swarms, they've got a green and a red, and the red means it's for target shooting, and the green means it's more for hunting. But and that's usually, the green is on the 22 caliber and the red is on the 177. Although on the internet I see plenty of 177s used for hunting, even pigs. The speed of their pellet is quite a bit faster than a 22, although it doesn't, have the same weight. This also has a safety trigger, and I'm going to move this out of your way so you can see that. This is the safety off, and this is the safety on. So it has a trigger safety. It also has an adjustable trigger. You can see there's this amount of play that there is before the trigger actually gets to the resistance before it starts to fire, and then there's the distance you pull it after here until it fires. And both of those, there's Allen screws in here, and I've got to find out exactly where and how to adjust them. So you can adjust both of those depending on how you like your trigger pull. The weight on the trigger pull is in the 2 pound plus range. I've seen it on the internet a few times, YouTube, where they have a gauge that will tell you what your trigger pull is. It's got the Piccaninny type rail system, or size, from what they say, and that's where the scope is mounting. This scope mount has some kind of a shock absorbing in it that prevents your scope from jumping when you shoot, jarring. This is your 10-shot magazine receiver here. The magazines just drop in here. It's clip in here. There's a button for the release, so when you want to take it out, you push that and it kind of pops out, and then you take it. When you want to install it, you just push it down and it just clips in. So real handy system, real nice. I'm going to be mounting the scope now and basically just getting it ready to shoot. And then after that, I'm going to set up some targets and, zero in the scope. So hope you guys can join us for that. And I'm going to put the camera down for just a second while I get the box out of the way and lay the gun on the table so we can mount this scope. So I'll be right back. Bye for now. All right, I'm looking at the camera through the scope, and you can't really see that well, but you can see that there's no mil dots in this scope. I also have a yellow filter on it that comes with it right here. This is a yellow filter. As you can see, it's kind of a yellowish tint. What that is for, here you can probably see well, you can't really see it good there either, but little lens caps with this rubber band thing holding there on. This is a clear cap at this end, and then a yellow at this end. That's for dusk shooting. When the light starts to kind of fade, that yellow will give you a little more brightness in your scope. So it does come with that. And of course you have your adjustments right here, your height and your left and right. I call it azimuth, but you could call it, I think, windage. Yeah, windage is on this side. And then you've got your 4 Allen screws. This is 2 of them. Before you put it on, you're going to have to loosen those with the big Allen wrench that they gave you right here. So I'm about to do that, and then I'm going to mount it on the rifle. So if you want to watch while I unscrew these, I'm just going to loosen them. They're just slightly snug, but you can see, taking these loose, I'm going to have to use the one that's got a little more leverage on it there. This one here too. Also, you'll notice that there is there's a pin here. That pin goes into, that's an alignment pin for the scope. That pin goes into the rail, and you'll see there's 2 holes in the rail, right here and right here. So you want to, and it's only got 1 pin on the scope, but you put that pin into there, and then you clamp it down onto the rail. And the 2 pins don't really line up with the okay, I think I gotta loosen that a little bit more. I got a little bit too tight here still. Maybe I'll just take these completely off. I don't know how long those screws are, so I didn't want to unscrew them completely and things falling around. Yeah, that's pretty loose. Open up this one a little bit more. Open up this one a little bit more. Give us some width there to mount onto the rail. And to align that pin. And that's it. Okay. got it on there. I just need to, yeah, it looks like the pin, we got the pin in there, in the hole, right there. You can feel it. Not a real tight fit, but it's it's just basic alignment. Snug this guy down here. Some people put a little Loctite on these, but I'm going to get another scope, a better scope than this, so I'm not going to Loctite it down just right now, because I'm going to be taking it off here in another couple of weeks when I go back to Cebu. That's where I bought this, was in Cebu City, and they sell them at Han, H-A-H-N or something like that. It's at SM Seaside Mall. It's on the third level, not the third floor, the third level. No, the maybe the fourth level, the third floor, as they call it. The first floor, they don't call the first floor, so it kind of confuses you when you're trying to find things and you're counting from the bottom to the top. There's always one extra there, but it's right by one of the escalators. If you come in from the highway side and you go to your left, or you can just ask, I think there's an information desk, and if they don't know, then ask one of the guards. The guards are the best people to tell you where to look for stores and things. They're the ones that really wander the mall up and down. The person that sits at the information booth, I doubt she's ever walked the mall and memorized the stores, but the guards, they're always on patrol, so they go everywhere. Now these screws, they seem like they're getting snug, but there is a point where they really get snug, so you'll recognize that as to, and there's no specified torque for torquing these down. I'm just snugging them up until I feel like that's about right. So about right there. Okay, so we got the scope mounted. I'm going to take this, like I said, there's a yellow lens and a clear lens. Take these off, and there we go. So the next step is to load the cartridge, and I'm not going to lay that scope down on the cap here. I'm going to lay it down on the side where the scope's not resting on anything. It's to load pellets in here. So let me go grab the pellets. I'll be right back. You can see the two different sides. One says load, and it's got a picture of the pellet going in, and the other side is the front, going towards the end of the barrel. They also have a shot counter. See this here, it's got an exclamation. That means there's no shots left. And then as you load shots, 2, 3, 4, and you'll see that on the top of your gun when you're using it, how many shots you've got left. So let me go grab some pellets. I'll be right back. Alright, well, I've got some pellets now. And the pellets that they had at Han are the Gamo pellets. And they got a few, they may have a few other brands, but I don't recall any other brand, but this is the Gamo. It's a 22 caliber. It's 5.5. That's his cal too. So caliber 5.5, caliber .22. I don't know. The weight of this is 15.43 grains, which is kind of a heavy pellet. It's a flat front end. It's called the Match Diabolo. And I get 250 of these for the expensive price of 350 pesos. I don't know if you can see the price there, but the 350 pesos at Han. So just unscrew this cap. And I haven't done any weighing or anything. Before I use this, I'm going to clean the barrel too. But I'm just going to show you how easy or how simple it is to load this. it's spring loaded, so this will keep springing back unless you hold it with your thumb. Like it's got a little wheel here, and I'm just going to hold it with my thumb. And you just kind of drop these guys in, and then press them, and they'll pop and drop basically. So you just put it in here. People say to inspect your pellets because when they're in the can or when they're shipped, they kind of get banged around. So that's 2. I'm going to 3 here. I'm going to load both of these, but this is my first time to load, so I'm not as quick as someone might be. Oh, okay, and it stops where the pellet is, so that's interesting. So if you let go, it won't pop all the way back to 1. It'll stay right where the pellet, your last pellet was. So that's handy when you're loading this guy. Oops, see, it won't go in backwards too, so that's a good thing, because I just accidentally tried that. So as soon as you load this, that one felt a little funny going in, but it looks okay. I guess I may be almost at 10 right now. And that's it. We're maxed out. There's 10 right there. You can see it. And again, you just snap it in here with the number, facing you as you would be reading it, just like that. You heard that little click? Well, that's in. Now, when you want to take it out, you push this down, pops out, snaps in, pops out, just like that, and you're ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load the second one, and then I'm going to get some fishing line, because they recommend that you clean this with use a fishing line tied to a towel or a patch, a little cotton cloth. So I'm going to do that first, because they recommend that you clean it. I'm going to lube it too. I've got some PTFE Teflon spray lube that I'm going to use on this, just because it's super slick. And it's also a good idea to just oil the gun down. We're in the Philippines, so there's a lot of humidity, moisture in the air, and we don't want our guns to rust. Although it does have a good bluing. It is made in Spain too, so it's a pretty good gun. Pretty good quality. Gamo is, one of the main brands in the air rifle industry. So we will be back in just a moment. See you soon. Bye. All right. Well, this gun has never been shot, but I ran this through the barrel, and you see how much dirt and crap there is? I'm guessing that's just some manufacturing thing, or maybe they test fire these at the factory. But you can see how black that patch came out. Now what I had to do, because this fishing line won't go through the barrel, and the reason is because your sound suppression starts here, and it's got little wafers kind of like these. See how you can see through this? It's got these things all down through here, all the way to about here. And so the end of the fishing line curves and hooks into there. So what I did, I took some galvanized wire, and I put a little loop on the end, and there. So and then I ran the string through this, and then I ran this through the barrel and pulled it out the other end. Then I disconnected this from the string and pulled the or fishing line, basically. So it's about a 50 or 100 pound test line through the barrel. I sprayed it. This is the lubricant that I'm using here. It's available in the Philippines. I have WD-42, but I don't like it. But this is got PTFE, so this is Teflon, is what PTFE is. And it's the slipperiest substance that we know of next to ice. So that's why I'm probably going to use this at least for now. And I sprayed the patch with it, and that's what was helped get all that dirt out. So I'm going to run it through there again. I got to cut another patch. What I did, because in the Philippines you can't buy patches anywhere, so I just took old pair of socks that I had that the elastic had stretched out on the top, cut them, and I'm using them. They're a very thin sock. They're not a heavy, thick sock. and I'm using them to make the patches. So I just cut a little section here to here, and then tie it on to the, this has a slip knot too. This is a slip knot, so when you slide it down, it gets tighter and tighter on this patch, and then you pull it through. So anyway, I'll be back. I'll show you all this before I pull the next patch through. So bye for now. What we're going to do, I told you we're cutting the patch, and I just cut a little, maybe like a 1/2 inch strip. That's what I cut. It fit in the barrel just nicely, and then about that long, and I'm guessing it's maybe 3.5, 4 inches long at the most. I didn't want to get it jammed in there. I also tested the material to make sure that it was strong. So I'm jerking this here, so make sure it's really strong, so it doesn't tear. And then I take it, and this is my old patch here, and as you can see right here, it's in a slip knot, and then I tied this in a knot also. So I'm going to untie this old patch, take it off, and you see this is the slip knot here. This slips tighter, and it's you pull this that way. You're sure to not get your patch stuck in the barrel. If you did, that'd be bad news, because I don't have a rod to really push it all of the way out. And then I tie the patch onto here also, like that. I tried to double it, and then I saw that it was going to be kind of too fat, and so I decided not to do that, and I'm going to tighten it down with that. I'm going to spray it with this lube here. Like that, get it nice and wet. Okay, now we're ready. Now I'm going to have to, the next step that I have to do is I have to, and this line that I have is way longer than what I need. So line's 6 foot long, my arms are 6 foot long. So what I do now is I run the line, and see, again, I bent this so it's not going to scar the barrel at all. You see that? Hopefully you can see that, where it's got the loop and it's bent back here, and I turn that in so it's not going to scratch the barrel going in or coming out. And then I put this through here, and I run it about halfway through. So I've got about 3 feet of line sticking out each side, or at least more than the barrel length. See, like this, right here. You can see that. Come on in, closer. And then from this end here, I run it through. And so I just fold that back, run it through, wiggle it around some. There it goes. Now it's going through. Now it's going to come out this end here where the barrel is. See right there? Okay, now what we do, we take and we pull the loose end over here. We pull this loose end through, not the patch end. We're just going to pull this loose end out. So we grab the side of this loose, and we go ahead and just pull it all the way through and get it out of the way, because that's thickness there. Okay, now that we've got this through, we can also pull this rod out also and slide it down the fishing line. And it's going to come out of the gun. Okay. Now we just take this off, basically slide it through here. There. Now the rod is out of the gun and out of the calculation. Okay, now we've got the patch down here, as you can see. Kind of get all the kinks out, because you don't want it to kink up, because this patch is a fairly tight patch, even though it's that thin. And like that, it's a nice snug patch. So we're going to pull it through here. And it'll start with a little bit of a resistance, because it's trying to go through the baffles and the silencer. Okay, now we got the patch out, and you can see we still got some dirt. So we're going to do another patch here. Just Again, we're just going to repeat the exact same steps until we get a clean patch through here. So I will do that, and then I'll be back. Bye for now. All right, well, I think we got it clean now. What we had to do was run 4 patches through it. See, this is the first patch here. So it's pretty nasty. From the factory. This gun has never been shot. That's from the factory there. Just a lot of black and stuff. This is the second patch. And again, we put this PTFE lubricant on the patches, and before the last one I actually sprayed this down the barrel. So this was the third patch here, and as you can see, it still picked up a little bit of dirt. This was the fourth patch here, so the fourth patch came out clean, you know, as clean as we need to be. So right there, that came out good. Okay, so it took us 4 runs through there to clean that barrel, and I don't know if you can see the barrel from here, but that is it right there. You got to be careful with this mechanism because it actually has a thing that lowers down and pushes the pellet in, you know, in the feed section. I'm kind of looking at this upside down. Maybe I should turn it right side up for you guys. There's the barrel right there. So, and you saw how we fed the line through there. And this is the galvanized wire that we get here in the Philippines. This is for tying up rebar. You know, when you're doing cement or concrete construction, they tie the rebar. They lay the rebar. Well, basically, you see these lines here. They lay the rebar in these crisscross thing, and then right where they cross, well, they take this wire and twist it around and hold this rebar to this rebar, and they do it on all these intersections there. So that's what this wire is. And again, I bent it so that it wouldn't harm the barrel. Certainly smaller than what the barrel is. It fits in there nicely. I put the monofilament line through there, or the fishing line through there, halfway through. And my line is 6 feet long, and my barrel's 20-something inches long. So I push it all the way through. There's some resistance here. You have to wiggle around because you're hitting the baffles, but once you get about right here, then it hits the barrel and you'll feel it. Then it's the smooth, you know, resistance going through. So we got it cleaned, and got my wife making some patches for the future. I'll see how dirty this gets, you know, from these Gamo pellets. And people wash their pellets, and there's a video on YouTube about washing them. And I may wash these, I don't know. I may spray lube them, I don't know. There's a technique called dieseling, where you put a little drop of oil in the back of each of the pellets, a little drop back there. And when you fire it, that oil works as a seal. And so there's no pressure bypassing the pellet, and you get increased performance in there, but that's also hard on your piston inside here. It's doing a lot more, it's receiving a lot more resistance and your seals and things. So I've heard that's not good. It shortens the life of your components inside your gun. So I'm not doing it for that purpose. I'm just doing it to lube it and to clean it. And also the PTFE, if it coats it and makes it a little more slick, you know, you get a little more speed out of your bullets. I don't have a chronometer or anything like that where I can, you know, do the speed test like some folks do, but we'll definitely do scope alignment and do some target shooting and just see, you know, how well this gun performs in the field. So anyway, that's it for now, and I gotta build some targets. It's getting late in the evening, and as we'll go outside here, I'll show you. Got a beautiful sunset out there that we're dealing with tonight. This is again the property that I own. It's called the beach that I own. It's called, I named it Sunset Beach because you get these kinds of sunsets every evening. So out here, peaceful, totally peaceful and calm here. There's a little hut right there. So, yeah, so anyway, there's your sunset picture, and we'll be back with more from my paradise on Bantayan Island. Bye for now.